So I was going down a nostalgia trip on my live stream recently, and I was rewatching the old E3 demo video of Oblivion from 2005, when something Todd said caught my eye. Or caught my ear, I guess.
I'm Todd Howard, Toddhoward. This is where the game starts, like our others, in prison.
Nuh-uh, Todd, Daggerfall does not start in prison.
We've seen it, it's there. So, let's do it.
Wait, we start as a prisoner in every other previous Elder Scrolls game? Why did I not realize this, and is Todd even telling the truth? So for no other reason than to prove the 2005 version of Todd wrong, I plan to investigate this today, in 2023. Yep, we're going down a rabbit hole today. Strap yourselves in, get some coffee, and get ready for some sweet retro Elder Scrolls content and Bethesda lore. Now, sure, I could just look up all this information on the interwebs, but that would not make a fun video, would it? So instead, I'll be playing the intro to every previous Elder Scrolls game that was released before Oblivion and demonstrating why Todd is in fact a big fat liar. Sorry, Todd, that was mean. You're not fat. It all starts with Arena. The Elder Scrolls Arena. I have never actually played this game, so this ought to be interesting. Incoming Todd fact first. Todd Howard joined Bethesda Softworks in 1994, but there is no mention of him working on Arena at all until the CD released, which he's just credited as a tester. Still, he was there, so he must know the answer to our very important question. Do we start as a prisoner in the Elder Scrolls Arena?
You have been left in this cell to die.
Oh, well, yes, it seems we are a prisoner at the start of Arena. Okay, Todd, you're safe for now. All right, I'm gonna make a rule for this video. If Todd is correct, I will fully escape his prison, and if he's wrong, then I get to celebrate by attempting to create some chaos within the game. But in this case, Todd is correct, so here we go.
Then thou wilt be known as the acrobat Todd, who wouldst call High Rock, land of the Bretons, his home.
Then thy race, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we're descended from druids. Important fact here, we're going to be Todd the Acrobat in every single game that we'll be playing today. Also, to just kind of compare the class in every game. I'm just very curious. As like a little bonus thing to do. I thought it might be kind of fun. So we're going to assign our stats. I don't really know anything about Arena, actually. So I'm just guessing here based on what the game told me. Hopefully it goes well. We'll find out in a minute. The most important thing to do, of course, is choose our beautiful appearance. The most toddiest appearance that we can possibly find. Yes. And here we are, dumped into a cell.
We awaken to a drip of water from somewhere above. The cell walls are covered in slime, as are the chains which hang from above. Your eye, however, immediately goes to a strange ruby glint from the corner of your cell.
And if we can just sort of finagle the controls here to get the key in the middle of the screen, we can click on it and maybe get the key. There we go. Got the ruby key. It didn't really look ruby when I picked it up, but you know what? I'll just trust Todd that it is in fact made of beautiful rubies. Let's continue out the door this way. We have our first bag of loot. Hurrah. Unfortunately for us, Todd, the Acrobat, cannot equip that. He's also not a spellcaster. Learning so much about ourselves today. The corridors seem twisted and confusing. That's not good. Something... I thought I felt something there. Maybe someone nibbling on my rear end. Oh my goodness, it's a rat. All right, I can do this. Okay, there we go. Eat dirt, rat. And in the next room, we've got, it's a goblin. Luckily, he's easily felled by Todd's might. Now, at this point, I may have completely forgotten what the game told me about how to find the shift gate. So I I end up going the completely wrong direction for a very, very, very long time. So in favor of saving you all the giant headache that I actually experienced while playing this, we're going to just skip ahead quite a bit to basically the part where I figure out that I was supposed to be going south. Coming up here, we have the most epic battle that Todd the Acrobat will face in the Elder Scrolls arena today. So I hope you guys are watching very closely because this is intense. It's seriously intense. Look at all of these goblins. Todd is just barely able to swing his sword fast enough. Actually, it was pretty easy. But nonetheless, we shall save the game just in case. And now, after much goblin and rat fighting, Todd is now at 1 hit point. A very dangerous thing indeed. As we continue down the hallways, we are unfortunately, very quietly, bitten in the bum by a rat and killed.
With you died our last hope for justice.
Well, that's pretty embarrassing. I hope the annals of Arena's great warriors in time will not publish the fact that I was slaughtered horribly by a measly rat in prison. I guess Jagar Thorn will now, he's free to do as he will. So, the end. No, just kidding. We go on. Okay, it seems to only make sense that we do save the game at this point because apparently things can get a little iffy if you're wandering around and exploring the entire map like you're not supposed to do. At this point, I do actually realize that I should be going south and west instead of north and west. And oh my god, Todd is dead again to a freaking rat. Good job, Todd. So now we are here, and I'm actually going in the correct direction, having explored way too much of the map and wasted way too much time. But here we are. And the rest of the dungeon is pretty self-explanatory. Kill a couple more rats, rest for a while, try to go the right direction on the map, south, kill another rat, loot an amazing gold pile of 69 gold pieces, and finally, just down this hallway and to the left, I see the shimmering field of the shift gate. Ah, it has been so long, much, much longer than this video entails. But we're there, everybody. All we have to do is save the game, walk forward into the shift gate, and... ah, yes. It's beautiful. Arena, the game. We are in a town. It is so peaceful and quiet and snowy. And oh my god, there is a wolf eating my bum. First rats and now wolves. What is it about Todd's beautiful glutes that are so delectable? We'll never know because now we have completed the prison at the start of Arena. Next up is Daggerfall, one of my favorite Elder Scrolls games of all time. Now, I happen to know the answer to this already, and I think it's a bit of a gray area, so I'm not sure if I want to give Todd the benefit of a doubt on this one or not. So Todd is listed in the credits as additional design in Daggerfall, so surely he did help work on the game, and surely he does know the answer to our very important question, but let's play through the start and then make a decision.
400 years after Tiber Septim's reign,
Excuse the gloom. Perhaps you can find the answer and close the marble jaws of Oblivion, bringing peace to his soul. I ask this as your emperor and your friend.
Right, so in Daggerfall, We are on a mission from the Emperor, and there is no mention from the intro itself about us being a prisoner. But instead, we are a friend of the Emperor, summoned to help him. However, it is possible to roll a specific background that states you were at one time in jail for breaking and entering. But this was far in your past. And since we picked a stealth class, I'm guessing that's why we got it. There are lots of different background stories in Daggerfall, so not all of them say you were previously in jail, and besides, we don't start the game as a prisoner at all, but we are in a dungeon, and I guess one could argue that we were imprisoned by the storm that wrecked our ship and got us trapped in the dungeon. I don't know, Todd. It seems like a stretch to me. So, no, this isn't a prisoner start, and Todd unfortunately lied to us. But I'll play through it anyway because I know where to go. I've done this 100 times, and I'm kind of curious how a hand-to-hand build will work in Daggerfall. Comment below if you want to see more Daggerfall content on this channel because I would love to make it. Anyways, this dungeon itself is pretty simple if you know where to go. I'm pretty impressed by how much damage hand-to-hand actually does, and I'm especially impressed that it works on the imp, because imps are supposed to be immune to normal weapons, but apparently hands and feet are magical in some way, or maybe just it's because it's Todd's feet. They are just so glorious in themselves that the imp just couldn't put up any defenses. I mean, it makes sense. So after a quick signature save, we take care of one more rat, and then we are on our way down to the first dangerous enemy. Well, the second if you count the imp, I guess. But this bandit proves to be usually the first thing that kills me in my Daggerfall runs. And in this case, unfortunately for Todd, he has met the same fate. But luckily for us and unluckily for the bandit, Todd has unlimited lives, and so eventually we fell him with our glorious kicks and punches, and he is dead. Now, of course, this bat does not stand a chance against Todd's mighty fist and boot, but through the next door after this bat is what I was worried about. So I make a save, and I go in trepidation, expecting to be horribly murdered by this man behind the table with a greatsword. However, in a surprise act, Todd gets a critical hit, and the crowd goes wild. Now, while that was all happening, you may have heard in the background a very faint bow and arrow sound. I didn't even notice this at all when I was actually playing, but turns out there was an archer that had spawned when I rested who was trying to murder me this entire time. Luckily, he got stuck in the doorway, but a little bonus enemy, a rogue there who unfortunately was also not up to Todd's standards. After a lovely nap, there is one more problem which we have to overcome. And that is up this beautiful giant stairway. There is a specific series of events that need to occur before we can actually continue on. One of the obstacles is this skeleton, and he is usually extremely rude. And yes, in fact, he is going to be extremely rude this time as well. So Todd is just going to, bravely run away, just like great Sir Robin would. Great Sir Todd bravely runs away.
I never did. A very brave retreat. Oh, Lord! I never.
And now he can proceed to the final room of this dungeon. Now, if you don't know the way out of here, obviously it's going to take you a lot longer to actually escape this dungeon, but since I've done this a lot, I know the exact path to go. Okay. Let's not get too cocky, Todd. We only got one room left. Surely we can defeat this Bat of Doom and whatever lays behind him, which I think is probably an imp. Yep, and maybe even a rat or two as well. Just a big party here in the doorway for Todd. Luckily, the bat is gone. Alas, Todd has bit the dust from the imp's magic spell that time. His Breton powers did not come in handy. So this time, we will do the brave thing once again after we kill this bat. And we will just simply run away. Bravely run away, away, brave, 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 Sir Todd. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed there wasn't a fanfare like when I exited the dungeon in Arena. I shall make my own fanfare. Rewind. There, now I feel like a true hero. Okay, we're done here. All right, what's next? Oh God, BATTLESPIRE. Okay, first, Bethesda lore time. BATTLESPIRE, in my mind, is a really weird branch on the Elder Scrolls tree. It was originally meant to be an expansion to Daggerfall, but it ended up evolving into its own game. It was also the first Elder Scrolls game to feature a multiplayer option. Cool, I guess. They definitely took some creative liberties with this one, and according to Christopher Weaver, the founder and former president of Bethesda, it was based on feedback from the player community. And if you bought a boxed copy of the game back in the day, it came with a thoughtful letter from Chris himself. I'm not going to read this whole thing, obviously, but one bit says, Bethesda is one of the pioneers of the entertainment software industry and the only veteran to have celebrated its 12-year anniversary under the same management. In this age of giant public conglomerates, Bethesda has remained true to its customers, bringing you cutting-edge entertainment software. We have learned to place great value on your comments and take them to heart in ways that our larger competitors do not. BATTLESPIRE is the beginning of a hybrid genre based on your input. Please help us refine it by continuing to give us the benefit of your opinions and suggestions in order to make our products the best. We promise to do our part. Thank you for your support and enjoy BATTLESPIRE. Love, Christopher Weaver. Wow, getting a letter of genuine thanks from the president of Bethesda for playing his game and asking for more feedback to help refine it does make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside and very nostalgic for the old days.
At my workstation, they do have a way where I can fax myself a graph or a spreadsheet, and then I can take that spreadsheet and attach it to a file that I want to send out. And within the email program, I usually like to take it, fax it to myself, and then I fax the fax to myself so I can see what the other person's going to get. It's confusing because it's all coming from the same computer, but I have to, put it through certain stages. I have to, distill into a final product that I can send out.
Sure, things were not easy in the 90s, but they made it work. This was a time of video game experimentation and game dev pioneers making groundbreaking new features and coming up with really cool and sometimes pretty out there ideas. It's a time in game development that I really miss and that will really never be the same. Anyways, on with the game. I think this one will be easy. Unlike Arena and Daggerfall, this game just sort of throws you in with nothing but your chiseled pecs or glorious boobies. Oh my God, nudity. So the plot in BATTLESPIRE is thusly. In BATTLESPIRE, the player takes the role of an apprentice who, on the day of his final test, discovers that an army of Daedra led by Mehrunes Dagon has invaded and killed nearly everyone. On top of that, his partner is being held captive by Mehrunes Dagon himself. Over the course of 7 levels, the player must travel through various realms of Oblivion to reach Mehrunes Dagon, defeat him, and escape back to Tamriel. I can find nothing of evidence of being a prisoner of any kind, so unfortunately, once again, Todd is a liar. Now is my chance to break the game. Except BATTLESPIRE is a hard game, even by 1997 standards. And having very little experience in the game myself, I couldn't really figure out a way to break it. So I just went and died to a floaty rune thing and uninstalled the game. Take that, Todd! The good news is that you're still alive. The bad news is that you find yourself in a cold, clammy dungeon cell. The good news is the food isn't bad, but the bad news is that you grow old and die in captivity without ever seeing another living soul. Well, at least the food was good. I forgot to mention something very important. Todd was credited in the special thanks category for this game, which is very vague, so I will just assume that he lended them his likeness for all of the finely chiseled male character models, and we'll just leave it at that. It's REDGUARD time! This is another one that I've never played, but I know it's full of jank and cheese, and I already love what I see. But we're just here to answer one question after all. Do we start as a prisoner in the Elder Scrolls REDGUARD?
Months pass. The Red Guards of Hammerfell, both crown and forebear, learn to live under the new Imperial rule. It is only through fate that any of this will come to concern our hero, Cyrus, a Red Guard who long ago left Hammerfell to wander the borderlands of the Empire.
Fratra kol kotero to Hammerfell, boshe in rot.
The seal is broken.
Fratra warregat.
Yeah, I bet you were.
Do I liter beko?
We haven't spoken in 10 years. There was trouble.
Kakatar.
I killed her husband.
Hammerfell's prodigal son, Cyrus, returns to the province of his birth. He buys passage to the island of Stosmakai in the hopes of rescuing his sister, Izab.
No, Todd. No, we do not. Unfortunately, Todd lied to us once more. However, the music in this game is just amazing, and I find myself wanting to listen to it on repeat now. Anyway, in REDGUARD, we start as a plain old hero named Cyrus, who is on a mission to find his missing sister and apparently gets mixed up in some Imperial business. He's definitely not mentioned to be a prisoner of any kind.
Said the other with cruel clarity.
Probably wouldn't make a difference if I told you I had no time for this.
This is about REDGUARD armor, boy. Stand aside.
Yes, a doubtful notion it is. Piracy and politics. But there you have it.
Never been much for politics. In my day, piracy was honest work.
Don't be a hero, boy.
Where's the money in that?
And yea, verily, by his bravery they were impressed for a scant few seconds. Let me show the wealth a thing or two.
Oh my goodness, the cheese is overflowing in the pot and the sea is now entirely filled with cheese. I would edit that in the video, but that would be way too much work. So just use your imagination. So Todd was actually a project leader on this game. He worked on the design and the writing of the game. But in spite of how much he worked on it, he must have just forgot the background of the main character. Yeah, that's it. He must have just forgot. It must have just slipped his mind. Interestingly, REDGUARD is the only Elder Scrolls game to have a pre-designed protagonist, and it's very different in gameplay than all of the other Elder Scrolls games. Another branch on the Bethesda tree that didn't go anywhere, but it is a really cool game, even if the controls are totally bonkers and it's buggy as balls. Regardless, I get to create some chaos. It turns out that no one gives a high-flying fudge if you kill the guards in this game. I will accept that other guard. Oops.
You're stuck. No. You're quite. Put it down.
I murdered 2 Imperial guards and nobody cares. Not even this guy who just tells me to take a walk. Now if I could only find out how to loot the bodies. Apparently I just walk around and wait for the prompt to pop up in the bottom left, and then I press the action button. Very, very different. Okay, well, that was REDGUARD. What is that sound that I hear? Yes, it is The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, a masterpiece of a game, and even more of a masterpiece of a soundtrack, in my opinion. Every time I hear that theme, I just get the goosebumps. In the waning years of the third era of Tamriel, a prisoner.
Stand up. There you go. You were dreaming. What's your name?
Hello, Jib. It is I, Todd. Morrowind is our final game in this video and my favorite Elder Scrolls game of all time. It's just the best. And if you don't agree with me, then you'll be visited in your sleep by the all-powerful project leader and original concept designer of Morrowind, Todd Howard. Now, luckily for Todd, we do in fact start out as a prisoner in Morrowind. The intro sequence makes it very clear that we were a prisoner in the Imperial dungeons and are now sent by boat for a very uncertain reason to help out and such. Now, Morrowind doesn't really have a dungeon to escape from at the start, so we're just gonna go through the beloved start of the game where we get off the boat, we create our class, Acrobat again of course, we get our orders, return the magic ring to Fargoth for those sweet deals at the shop.
I have a feeling that you and I are about to become very close.
Kill a mud crab for 10 years. Literally. Wow. Hand-to-hand is completely trash in Morrowind. So much for my streak of Acrobat Todd victories. Ah, lovely Morrowind combat. I do miss it, even if it is a bit silly. Anyway, continuing on, we find some free cash on a dead tax collector guy, and then we head on over to watch our favorite flying wizard fall to his demise for the millionth time. You know what? Maybe just this one time, I'll join him. And now, can I finish my outro before I hit the ground? In conclusion, Todd did in fact lie to us, but only some of the time, and let's give him the benefit of a doubt and assume he just forgot. He has delivered us some fantastic games over the years, for which I am eternally grateful to him. I love you, Todd. Thanks for the games. Also, it never really mattered anyway. This was just a clever excuse for a video. Thanks for watching.